Alrighty, here comes day 5 of solving equations. What's day 5? It's going to be these questions. So check out where we've been. Check out where we're going. Here we go. Q divided by 4 equals negative 2.4. I told you that the further we go on this, the faster I'll kind of get, because hopefully it's starting to make sense to you. Q is being divided by 4, so we multiply by 4 in order to cancel out the 4's, and what we get is negative 9.6. How do I do that? Because negative 2.4 times 4, that's 4 times 4 is 16, and that's 9, right? Because 4 times 2 is 8, and then carry the 1, and then move the decimal 1 place. So Q is negative 9.6. And if you want to know, does that work? Am I going to plug it in? I've been plugging in all of these problems. So negative 9.6 divided by 4, is that negative 2.4? Well, let's check it out. Negative 9.6 divided by 4. That happens 2 times. 8. 2.4. And then that's a negative, so that's a negative. So yes, it works. Great. Number 6. 1/8 m equals 6. This is multiplying. We can multiply by the reciprocal, and the reciprocal is 8 over 1. So this is really just m equals 6 times 8, which is 48. And to plug this in, all I'm going to do is 1/8 times 48. Does that equal 6? Well, does 48 over 8 equal 6? Yes, it does. We're good to go. Number 9. Oh, look, another reciprocal problem. Why is it a reciprocal? Because this guy is a fraction. And we're going to multiply both sides by negative 7/6. The 7/6 and 6/7, and I know I said it, cancels, gives me h equals, and you might be looking over here going, oh boy, I don't want to do that. Let's write it out a little bit more like what it's really doing. So you could go ahead and multiply 7 times 8. I don't want to do that. Here's what I'd rather do. I'd rather say 6 can divide 8 3 times, and 6 can divide itself once. And now 7 times 3, negative 7 times 3 is negative 21, and 1 times 1 is 1. So we get that h equals negative 21. So we're going to plug that back in. Does 18 equal negative 6/7 times 21? Well, like we just did, this is really 21 over 1. And 7 can divide 21 3 times in itself once. So what we're left with is negative 6 times 3, which is negative 18. Except I wrote over my negative. There's a negative hidden right here behind my blue circle. So a negative times a negative is positive, so we get 18 equals 18. We're good. Number 12 might be a little scarier looking because it's a fraction equals a fraction, but we are able to multiply by the reciprocal. And that reciprocal is 40 over 9. The 40's cancel, the 9's cancel, leaving us with g. G equals, and then again, we can kind of do some canceling. If you don't want to cancel, here's what we got. If you don't cancel, here's what you get. 40 times 3 is 120. 9 times 10 is 90. This reduces, if you divide them both by 30, to 4/3. If you didn't want to do the reducing later, but earlier, 3 goes into itself once, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. 10 goes into itself once, and 10 goes into 40 4 times. So it's literally 4 times 1 and 3 times 1, which is 4/3. Now for the plug in to see if it works. 3/10 equals 9/40 times 4/3. Well, we could do it this way. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 over 120. Oh my goodness. Well, if these are going to be the same, we had better be able to divide these two by 12, because let's be honest, 10 times 12 is 120, right? And yes, that's what we end up getting. We get 3/10. So that's good. We are happy with 4/3. 15. Negative 4x plus 3 equals negative 11. I'm going to subtract 3. And I get negative 4x equals negative 14. If I divide both sides by negative 4, I get that x equals positive 7 over 2. Here's our first one where I really didn't kind of explain every little detail, but if I were to go back and do that, I mean, yeah, we're subtracting 3 because it's adding to that negative 4x. We're divided by negative 4 because these are multiplying, and we're done. So let's plug it back in. Negative 4 times 7 over 2. If we add 3 to that, do we get negative 11? Well, let's find out. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 28 over 2 plus 3. So what's negative 28 divided by 2? That's negative 14. If you add that to 3, you definitely get negative 11. 18, 1.25r minus 7 equals 2.5. I'm going to add 7 to get 1.25r equals 9.5. Now I've got to divide by 1.25, and I get that r equals, well, let's do this little math, shall we? We got 1.25 divided by 9.5. You know what? I haven't done the box method in a while. Let's do some boxing. The decimal's right there, except we're going to move this twice, which means we should move this one twice. So really, and if you want to clean that up, if you're like, that's pretty ugly looking, watch this. Let's clean it up. We're going to have 125 on the outside and 950 on the inside. So now here's where the box comes into play. Womp, womp, womp. Decimal, 0, womp, 0, womp, 0. I don't know how many zeros we're going to need, but that's how many I've written down. How many times can we multiply 125 to get 9? None. How many times can we multiply 125 to get 95? None. How many times can we multiply 125 to get 950? Well, I don't know, but I'm going to try this. If I just multiply that by 5, I get 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Bring down that 2, carry the 1. 5 times 1 is 5. 625. What if I add another 525? I'll do that in green here. I get 750. Okay, well, if I add another 125, I get 875. And if I add another 125, I get 1,000. Okay, so too many. So this was 5, 6, 7. Oh my gosh, I said 7. So let's see. 7. 7 times 5 is 875. Okay, and when we subtract that, we will have to do this. The 9 goes to 8. That's 15. Goes to 14. Goes to 10. 5, we get 75. 75, and then you're basically going to do this. This is now 750 right here. And we actually had that, right? Right here. So 750, that should be, this was times 5. This was times 6. So, oh my gosh, the worst combination of numbers. It's 7.6. Okay, so R equals 7.6. And really, the lengthiest part of doing this problem was doing long division on our own, right? So am I going to check this answer? You betcha. So 1.25. I mean, let's see if I'm right. If I'm really right, there should be no problem. 1.25 times 7.6. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 3. 6 times 1 is 6 plus that. There we go. I'm done with the 6. That's why I've written that 0. fact, I'll do it like this, 0. 7 times 5 is 35. Another 3. 7 times 2 is 14. 14 plus 3 is 17. 7 times 1 plus that, 8. 0, 0, 5, 9, 9, 5, 0. And check this out. We have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 decimal movements. So we would get 9.5 minus 7. Does that equal 2.5? Yep, it does. Is this the last one? Last one for the day. Some more decimals. Hooray! I'm going to add 16.3. And I get 4y equals, let's see, 4, 9, 6. And then we divide both sides by 4. And y equals, well, let's do this math. 6, 9.4. 4 goes there. That's 1. 7, which is 28. That's a 1. Bring down the 4. That's a 3. 12. That's a 2. Bring down another 0. And that's a 5. 17.35. Y equals 17.35. And you know what? Am I going to do this? Yep, I am. I did it before. I'm going to do it again. So 17.35 times 4. 17.35. Here we go. 17.35 times 4. 22. 4. 28. 29. 6. Move the decimal place. We get 69.4. And does 69.4 minus 16.3 give you 53.1? Yes, it does. And if you're like, how did you know, though? Because if you were to add these two, you get that. I'm sorry. When you subtract them, you get that. So when you add these, you get the idea. It's the right answer. That was day 5, and we're almost done. Let me know what questions you got. See ya.